It's a wonderful week, and we thank you for spending some time with us here at Retiring Well. As we're approaching year's end here and getting into the fall season, we want to start looking ahead to next year in 2025 on a few things. The first is some changes with the Secure Act 2.0. There's a few things coming into place here in 2025 that could affect your retirement if you're still working and qualifications for your employer-sponsored plans. Then we're going to talk about how to recreate a retirement budget. What are some of the things that you should be considering, and maybe some things that you haven't thought of that you might want to consider putting in there. And as Halloween is right around the corner here, and we're in that season, we're going to be talking about terrifying retirement statistics. Boy, you're not going to want to miss that because some of those are quite alarming, and hopefully you're not falling into some of those groups. And to wrap up the show, as the election is just days away now, Nick is going to be talking about the presidential stances on health care. Boy, there's so much to think about when it comes to that. We want to educate you on that and where they stand at this time. So again, all of this and so much more over the next 30 minutes here on Retiring Well.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
There's some important things to know as we're coming up on the new year, this year of 2025. There are a few changes that are going to be pertinent to retirees or soon to be retired individuals. The Secure Act 2.0 has kind of different phased in changes that have been happening over the last couple years. Changing the required minimum distribution age, stuff along those lines. Now there's a few of these things that are now coming or being phased in January 1 of 2025 that we want to make you aware of. One of the first ones that could be very beneficial to some groups, if it's available, is the super catch-up for retiree savers. So if you're participating in a workplace retirement plan, 401k, 403b, that sort of stuff, you have certain contribution limits and stuff like that, obviously, right? And then with your traditional IRA, you're gonna have limits from that perspective as well. So depending upon the year and all that sort of stuff and what age you are, there's a kind of a standard limit, and then there's what they call a catch-up provision into that. So right now, there's a catch-up provision for people that are 50 and older. They can contribute an extra $7,500 into their employer-sponsored retirement plan, okay? That can jump up to $10,000 for ages 60 through 63 starting in 2025. The key piece to this is an optional change per employer. So if your employer doesn't adapt to this, there's not a consequence to them. And there's a lot of discussion out there right now in the industry about this, and they're talking about it being kind of a record-keeping nightmare. So keep in mind, every employer that offers these, they have to have administrators of the plan, and they have to keep track of these. So keeping track of somebody when they hit the age of 60 to 63, knowing they can have this extra super catch-up provision could be challenging. So there might be some employers that don't offer this, but this is a thing that can be allowed if your employer does. So if you're between the ages of 60 and 63 and you're in a workplace retirement plan and you're already using that catch-up provision, you potentially might have a little bit more on the table come early 25. Some people then, when we talk about workplace retirement, those early people, those younger folks just getting into the workforce, maybe you remember this for yourself, is it comes around, you've been with your employer, the kind of the probationary period, if you will, in many cases 90 days, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year, and there's an enrollment that comes around to sign up for that retirement plan. Probably HR comes around, has a piece of paper, maybe it's electronic with your employer. Hey, would you like to sign up for our plan? We match up to this, or they may or may not. You can contribute up to this, and then the employer elects to sign up or not. With the Secure Act 2.0 in 2025, there's automatic enrollment. If your workplace has this, you automatically get enrolled, and you can opt out as an employee, but you're automatically being enrolled, so you don't have to go through the decision, or maybe you don't get around to it, and you get automatically enrolled with a 3% contribution rate. Again, you can opt out, but there's an automatic enrollment of that. I find it kind of interesting. There's a few organizations that are exempt from having to do auto enrollments. If you're a church Another one that I cracked up, if you're a government-sponsored plan. So the government is putting this out there, but they're saying, hey, we don't have to buy this if we don't want to. If you're an employer-sponsored plan with 10 or less employees, you don't have to have automatic enrollment. And also, if the retirement plan hasn't existed for at least 3 years, you don't have to have automatic enrollment either. So again, for many of these places, there's not necessarily, you may not see a change, but for many you probably will. Another change coming up with workplace plans is what they call automatic portability. Prior to this coming out, a lot of times if you moved employers, you were with somebody for a year or 2 years and you had a small balance, it was common that those balances would just be cashed out and sent to you in form of a check, treated as income, and you likely would have spent it, okay? Now they're making it easier, more portable to move those into your new employer plan, so hopefully you can continue saving for your retirement. Some other kind of small changes coming along is for part-time employees. Now here, there's a lot of stipulations with hours worked and stuff like that. And I'm not going to get into all the details here, but if you're somebody that has been kind of what we could call a longer-term part-time employee for the same place, there's some new savings options, or your employers, there's different eligibility now that may be available to you if you've been with the same place 2 to 3 years. So something to look into if you're that long-term part-time employee that you might have not had the advantage before to contribute to your employer-sponsored plan.
Remember when life was simpler? When things didn't move quite so fast? And the world didn't seem so complex? Remember that? We do. And as the world around us has continued to speed up, becoming more complicated, and still a bit uncertain, we have managed to keep things simple, providing sound, easy-to-understand financial advice and customized roadmaps for the road ahead, from tax reduction strategies, investment advice, and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, backed by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. We can be your single point of contact, a single call, a voice you recognize well, and a partner who can be by your side for the entire journey. We can't stop the world around us, but we can help ensure you're prepared for what's to come. To schedule a no-obligation meeting, simply contact us today.
Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
Make the most of Social Security. Although Social Security isn't designed to cover all of your income needs, it's an important part of the retirement puzzle. Download our free booklet on the Social Security decisions at cen-wealth.com and learn how to optimize Social Security for your situation, why timing is so important when it comes to your benefits, ways to supplement your Social Security, and more. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com, scroll down, and click the download link to get your free booklet on the Social Security decisions.
Finances can cause stress and anxiety. A lot of times people wonder, am I going to run out of money? Well, our goal today is to walk you through and maybe help simplify your retirement in 3 easy steps. The first, let's look at what are you spending. Reminder, this goes well beyond just your basic monthly utilities. A lot of times we're having conversations, say, well, what are your monthly expenses? And people instantly go to, well, I got a cell phone and you know, the electricity and this and that. It goes much further beyond that. Look at, obviously, your typical grocery bill, gas, home, auto insurance. What are those different expenses that really won't change from when you're working into retirement? What about then housing is typically a big expense. Are you planning on moving and relocating to a different area? Are you looking at downsizing? Are you considering buying a second home, a vacation home? What about those things that you're going to enjoy now that you're going to have more time in retirement, the leisure activities, different hobbies, the travel? What about health insurance? That tends to be a major factor when people are considering their retirement. I'd encourage you to review your credit card and ultimately look through there. A lot of times they'll help summarize your expenses to sort of see in different categories how much you're spending, and it'd be something to start looking at that month in and month out to see what that retirement budget might look like. The second piece is going to be looking at your cash flow. Obviously, if you're no longer working and into retirement, we consider that like, okay, what's the next 20 to 30 years of unemployment for you going to look like? So you've got to factor in Social Security. If you haven't already, go on SSA.gov and get set up with an account, and then you want to start evaluating when are you going to begin your Social Security benefits. Do you have any type of pension? Whether a lot of times that seems to be if you had a job a number of years ago and they offered some type of pension, maybe that was part of your retirement plan. What about do you have a rental property with some income, or are you considering maybe doing some part-time work in retirement? Lastly, look at your retirement savings. So you've built that money up, hopefully in 401k, IRA, Roth, whatever it might be, and you've built up this savings. Now take that figure and say, let's assume a 4 to 5% withdrawal. So if you have, say, $500,000 saved for your retirement, and you assume, well, I'll take about 4% a year is the factor there. Okay, that's about $20,000 a year, a little over $1,500 a month. You'll want to factor taxes on if that's going to be traditional IRA 401k. With that, your hope is, okay, if I'm making 4, 5, 6% return and I'm only drawing out 4, 5, 6%, then hopefully you're maintaining that principal over time. Number 3, prior to retirement, test out the information that we just talked about. What are your projected expenses and based on the income that you believe you'll have in retirement, and see how those two match up. With that, in testing your budget, a lot of times people commonly will talk about, well, maybe it's 70 to 80% of your current income because you're no longer contributing to 401k, you don't have as much in taxes potentially. So if you're currently just say at $100,000 of income, you would assume, okay, maybe you're going to be spending $70,000, $80,000 a year. Again, that's different for everyone, so you want to look at that very cautiously. The trouble areas, I would say, that you want to be well aware of come down to housing. What are the costs of your home? Do you have your mortgage paid off, which is a great advantage, or do you need to consider downsizing or potentially relocating? The other area, health insurance. You're going to be looking at all these different healthcare expenses and what that might look like. A big one that comes into play is the eventual long-term care need. If that's a possibility, how do you plan ahead for that? So at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we use a system to try and map out what do the next 20, 30, 40 years look like, and there's a lot of different variables to consider. So if you haven't done that already, we'd encourage you to give us a call. We'd be happy to sit down with you and help build a plan to help you plan to retire well.
Every business says they're better, but the ones that earn and display the BBB seal back it up. It instantly identifies businesses that are committed to operating with integrity, honoring promises, and telling the truth. Makes you wonder why every business doesn't have it. So look for it, because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we feel education is paramount to wise decisions. Your retirement should not be left to chance. Our team of advisors has put together an educational half-hour-long program to discuss the many complex decisions you'll be faced with in retirement, including income, investment, estate, taxes, and healthcare. Tune in weekly to learn about all these topics and so much more, or visit cen-wealth.com.
Living life isn't always easy. It puts up challenges and obstacles you'll have to overcome. There are responsibilities. You put in effort to provide and take care of your family, and to save and invest, to balance work and life. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
As you are planning for retirement, where's your journey taking you? Do you know where you are going? How are you going to get there? And what's the best route to take? Do you have a personal retirement roadmap? At Centennial Wealth Advisory, we specialize in retirement planning, and we have designed a complimentary retirement roadmap video series that can be customized based on your personal circumstance and preferences. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com/roadmap and provide us with some basic information that will guide you to your on-demand, customized retirement roadmap video. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
In this segment, in honor of the Halloween holiday, we're going to look at some statistics that should scare you. Here are 10 terrifying retirement statistics. Number one, 33% of Americans have no savings at all. Number two, 34% of Americans say they are living paycheck to paycheck. Number three, in January 2024, most retired people only got an average of $1,770 per month for Social Security. Do you think that's sufficient to live on? We don't, and nor does the Social Security Administration themselves. In fact, even the Social Security Administration has said that Social Security isn't meant to replace all your income. Number four, 40% of people have no one they turn to for retirement advice. Number five, about 61% of working Americans are more afraid of retiring than of dying. And 64% fear retiring more than getting divorced. Number six, 20% of adults age 50 plus have no retirement savings, and that's from an AARP survey in April of 2024. Number seven, 61% of adults 50 and older are worried they will not have enough money to support them in retirement. Number eight, 70% of people 50 and older are worried about prices rising faster than their income. Number nine, 26% of people who are not yet retired say they never expect to retire. And finally, number 10 of our 10 terrifying retirement statistics, number 10, only 31% of non-retired people say they feel they're on track with their retirement savings. So these are truly 10 terrifying retirement statistics. And I know we're having fun with a little bit here with the segment title and the fact that the Halloween holiday is around us now. But these are scary. They are truly a terrifying retirement statistics. And I think this is something that we all need to think about. These are real things and real concerns. So whether it's you or someone you know very well, odds are you fall into one of these categories. One of these statistics rings true for you. Here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, obviously we help clients deal with this, go through these that have these similar concerns and these worries and stresses. And so this is something that when we look at these statistics, we understand that some of our clients and a lot of the people here in northern Michigan are feeling this. They're feeling the stress. They're worried that they don't have the savings they need. They're worried about their financial future. They have questions about retirement. Do they have enough? The idea of the statistic where it talked about prices rising faster than income, that's really obviously talking there directly about inflation. Are prices going to rise faster than my income rises? These are all things that are scary. They are terrifying for a lot of people here in the northern Michigan area. And so for us at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we want to come alongside you and help calm these fears, help them these things be not terrifying for you. Knowledge is power, and our goal is to really sit down with you and help you to work through where you're at, answer questions you might have, and calm some of these fears and these worries. So that's really a focus of ours through our help with our clients and people in the community, is to be able to discuss what is really causing you stress, what is really terrifying to you. Are any of these things terrifying? Any of these things I just read? Can you relate to any of these? And if so, great, let's talk through those. And if not, what are your concerns? What are your worries? So you're going to see some instructions here on the screen. If you have questions, or if any of these things do ring true to you, or if there's other things maybe that you would like to discuss, and if you would be interested in sitting down for a no cost and no obligation meeting, we would be happy to meet with you. You can simply, like I said, follow the instructions on the screen, contact us, and we can set up a time for you to come and meet with us at one of our offices here in Northern Michigan so that we can help you plan to retire well.
If you are nearing retirement or already retired, we invite you to an informative live event to help you plan to retire well. Call 888-608-5825 or register online and choose the date and location that works best for you. The live event starts at 6:30 p.m. and is free to attend with a complimentary gourmet dinner to follow. But seating is limited and tends to fill quickly. Call 888-608-5825 or register online to reserve your seats today.
Are you concerned about having enough savings to last through retirement? Studies have shown that outliving their money in retirement is the #1 concern of most retirees. Many don't know where to find answers to their questions. Centennial Wealth Advisory can help. We are financial professionals, fiduciaries specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan with offices in Traverse City, Gaylord, Petoskey, and Cadillac. Call us today to request your complimentary retirement income analysis.
"57% of employees say that finances are the top cause of stress in their lives. This is one of many findings from a PwC survey. Human resources managers and business owners, we will partner with you to help your employees. At Centennial Wealth Advisory, we focus on education and the health of the whole person. We offer a complimentary financial wellness workshop with food provided for your team. We all want our employees to be productive at work, but most importantly, we want them to flourish in every area of their life."
Regardless of the election outcome here coming up in November, there's going to be some big changes to Medicare in 2025. And now's the perfect opportunity to look at those changes as we have this annual enrollment period that runs from October 15th through December 7th. If you're new to Medicare, or maybe you're approaching that magical age of 65 and going to go on to Medicare, the annual enrollment period, or AEP as they sometimes refer to it, is a special time of year where you're only allowed at this point in time of the year to make changes to that Advantage plan, to update things and make changes to your Part D prescription drug plan, and also take into account those legislative changes that could affect Medicare as well. And there's a bunch of those changes coming up here for 2025, primarily in reference to the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. So on the Medicare Advantage side of things, the biggest change that you're going to see for 2025 is going to be what they're calling a benefit letter. Okay, so the Advantage plans companies, the insurance companies, are going to be forced to send out these benefit letters about midway through the year. And on these letters, it's going to outline the benefits that you're actually using and also the benefits that you haven't utilized at all at that point in time throughout the year. And so I think this is great. It's something that's never been done in the past, and it's going to force the insurance companies to list all these benefits for you. And the reason why I think it's great is because you're going to be able to see the benefits that you're using and the ones that you're not, so you can say, hey, I didn't even know I had that benefit. Oftentimes I have clients come in and they've got these Advantage plans and they don't even really understand all the different ancillary benefits that they have. So this letter is really going to help them do that for next year. Another great thing about this letter is that it's going to show you the benefits that you're not using. So you can say, hey, do I really even need that benefit? And as we all know, nothing in life is free, right? So even though they're throwing on these ancillary benefits, and maybe you have a 0 premium Advantage plan, those benefits aren't free. They're costing you some way or another, whether it's higher co-payments, deductibles, co-insurances, or max out-of-pockets, it's costing you one way or another. So by getting this letter, you can evaluate those benefits and say, you know what, come annual enrollment time in the fall, let's reevaluate these things and see if I really need these benefits. And if I don't, let's find a plan that might better fit my needs. And potentially, you could have a lower deductible, lower max out of pocket, and so forth. So that's the one minor change for 2025 on the Advantage side of things. But the biggest change comes on the Part D plan side. And this is where I think it's going to help so many people. So for 2025, on the Part D side or prescription drug plan side, so they're going to cap your benefit at $2,000, okay? So, you know, right now in 2024, the Part D plan is kind of confusing, okay? You got your deductible phase, your initial coverage phase, your coverage gap or donut hole phase is what they refer to it as, and then the catastrophic coverage phase. Well, for 2025, all you got to worry about is that deductible and then the max out-of-pocket cap at $2,000. So this, I think, is really going to help so many people. Oftentimes, I have clients where they're on some very, very expensive medication, and they get into that donut hole or a catastrophic coverage very early in the year. And you know, you end up spending a lot of money on those prescription drugs. So with this new legislation, you're capped at $2,000 for 2025. I think so many people are going to benefit from that change. Now, you do have to remember, you have to have your drug that is covered by Medicare, okay? So if it's some experimental drug, well, that's not going to apply. And then you also have to remember that those medications that you're taking must be on the formulary for the Part D plan that you have. So again, this is why this year especially, it's important to take a look at the changes during the annual enrollment period, here October 15th through December 7th. Take a look at those legislative changes and see which plans might be best for you. If you have any questions on health insurance, we here at Centennial Wealth, we don't just do investment planning. We like to help you plan to retire well, and that includes a whole host of other services, including health insurance. So by all means, reach out to the number on the screen, schedule a free, no obligation consultation, and we'll be happy to walk beside you on your health insurance journey.